Okay, here we are, Hiker's Dream. Welcome to the show. My name's Val, or Landslide on the Trail, and the show is about promoting hikers, hiking, and the environment. Save our planet. And I think hikers are people that are out in the environment and they see what's going on, and they can get a good sense of what's going on in the planet. Because they're in the field right there. And it's very interesting to talk to them. And here today we have Charles Gutierrez, and he's going to be telling us about his upcoming hike. And maybe you can start with some of your background first and then go into the hike that's coming up for you.
Well, for my generation, I've done every little kid's dream. I've been a soldier, a police officer, a firefighter, an Air Force officer, and a cowboy. I put 44 years in a uniform. I have tours in Central Asia, Iraq, and Afghanistan. They kept pinning shiny things on me as I kicked the can down the road. But I was an older commissionee. I was 33 years old when I took a commission in the Air Force, so I had very little in common with my peers. So when I went to Iraq, I turned 45 there. And when I went to Afghanistan, on my birthday, I was carrying 68 pounds of ammunition, body armor, weapons, and a small assault pack on mission in Afghanistan. So I read somebody that did Machu Picchu on their 50th, and I'm so envious. But I have to tell you about the day I came back. I'm a Colorado native, and we were stationed in Colorado. My wife was at Schriever, and I was up on Cheyenne Mountain. And I'd seen Pikes Peak since I was a child. And we're coming back from the airport, and I look over the left and look at it, and I said, it is so small. Just so small. When you've been in the Hindu Kush, in the altitudes of the Himalayas, it's so small. So everything is relative in life. So, retired up here to Montana. It's taken about 12 years for me to heal upright to be able to go on this through hike, and several months of planning and training.
And which hike are you doing with the audience?
The Appalachian Trail. Okay. And I'm starting the first week of January. Some people might say I'm crazy. Well, that is up for discussion, but not about the hike. So it's all about planning and, looking at future forecast and equipping. And as we know, Landslide, no battle plan survives first contact with the enemy.
No. I started my hike, like I said, when I was 64. I went with my son, who was in his 30s, and I was carrying 30 pounds, which is nothing compared to what in the 60s you're talking about, but it was still too heavy, and people were actually pointing at me and kind of laughing at me. And we got a shakedown 2 or 3 days into the hike with a former Navy SEAL, and we got the weight down, and I bought some new equipment, lightweight, and it was good after that. So you are planning, what is your age? Just curious.
I'm 62.
Okay, good. And, is this your first long distance hike?
Yes, anything of that distance. And so it's one day at a time. Get up in the morning and go to the far side of the trail that you can.
Well, I was, like I say, 64, and I had done 5 days of training, and that's it. So I had not been a hiker. So it's possible. I hear the AT is a lot more difficult than the PCT, which I hiked. So
that's my understanding. I've been doing strength training for 6 months, and I am built like I was when I was 35. And I look more like a fullback than a distance hiker.
Right. I saw your picture with your shirt off, or your T-shirt. You're humongous. You're a monster. The bears are going to be scared of you.
What do they say? No rain, no pain, no main.
Yeah.
So you talk about the bears. I would give you quick story. I traveled from North Carolina up here to Montana in August of 1990, and I was fishing in the high country of Glacier with an old Army buddy. And we got to come across two grizzlies at close range within 50 meters. And one of them was chuffing and pounding on a rock. I'm like, that's not a good sign. And you put the fish down and you start calling out, hey, bear, hey, bear. And he ran off into the huckleberries, and another lighter colored cinnamon grizz came out on the trail, and he was pounding. I looked at Pete. I said, if I remember small unit tactics, this is an L ambush and we're about to get cut to pieces. And it is my intention to smell so bad by the time he gets here, he won't bother me.
Good for you. We saw two bears. One was minding his own business. He didn't care what we were doing. And the other was in Washington State. And he had just it was hunting season. Hunting season had just opened. So he was being, they had him up on, they were skinning him, and
Yeah,
he was, that way. But not a lot of bears where we were. I didn't see a lot of dangerous, so-called mountain lions or anything that was concerned. It was mainly the ants, the flies, the mosquitoes, the little boogers that were a nuisance.
those are the ones you can't defend yourself against as well.
No.
And they're more plentiful.
So,
yeah.
So why are you doing this? Why are you doing this?
Well, 35 years ago, when I was a police officer in North Carolina, I was at Denny's one Sunday, and I put this in a blog, and there were two guys in their hiking gear with a book, and they were sitting there talking about hiking, and I hear Appalachian Trail and I hear Mount Katahdin. And back then, as I wrote, you had a couple of books and some speculation, rumors, and whatnot. And I started looking it up, and I thought, I can do that. I want to do that. I should do that because, I'm tired of fighting people down in the projects during the crack epidemic for $10.70 an hour, which is what the department was paying me. And I thought, I'm going to leave the department in a couple of years. Maybe I'll do that. And life got in the way, career, went back to college, took a commission. And when I came back from Afghanistan in 2012, it was my intention that January to start a few weeks after I started terminal leave when I came home for retirement. And my mental and physical health broke down. I've got a high level of disability, and people need to forget what they hear about PTSD. When they sensationalize somebody's bad acts in a news report to it, because I have severe complex and enduring post-traumatic stress. Some of the health providers said it's as bad as they've seen. But it's not. If you have a core and a base, you can have a pinnacle and you can have a dream. So it's, working at it day by day, whatever your issue is. So, I've got 12 years of struggling with the monster. I can surely take 6 months struggling with the trail.
Wow, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, I did it because it's the same kind of like going into the military, but people aren't shooting at you on the trail, basically. But it's still a struggle. I mean, it's hard. You're fatigued, you're hungry, cold, hot, uncomfortable a lot of times, most of the time. But again, the rewards are so immense. The rewards are so long lasting, and the trail, the community you meet, wonderful. And you expect to get, do you have any expectations about what you're going to get out of it too?
I'm trying not to. I'm sure there's a little bit of healing involved because all of it's part of the lifetime process. In a sense of growth, course accomplishment, Yeah, there have been many dark nights. I write some poetry, and you'll see some of it down the line. But it's usually after 5 nights that I haven't slept, just because. And so when I'm out and about, if I'm up at night, it's time to night hike, but I really want to see part of North Carolina I didn't see when I lived out there for 13 years. I have never been in the Smokies when it wasn't raining and foggy. I'd like to see that. I've got friends along the way, but I want to see Mount Katahdin. And I don't care if I have to drag myself down the trail by my teeth.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see Mount Katahdin and stand up on top. And I have to tell you, I admire those that have done it before and those who continue to try. And I read their stories, read their warnings, read their joy, watch their videos. And yeah, envy is not supposed to be a good thing, but for me it is. It's motivating that I want to share in the joy that they have as part of that community. And you look at the Appalachian Trail, how many people do you read about have moved there after they hike the trail so they can be a trail angel, open a business along the trail, and have that as part of their life? It's had such an effect on them. So we'll see where this goes with me. A couple of things I'm looking forward to. I was there seeing my grandchildren last month, and I went up to Roan Mountain, Tennessee, where I have a friend who I hadn't seen in 25 years. And the trail goes through 2 places in his family's historic property up there. So my son and my grandchildren will meet me in Franklin for a few hours. They'll meet me again in Roan Mountain so the grandbabies can walk a little bit of the trail with their grandpas, and then again in Damascus. So the grandbabies will get to walk part of the trail with me in 3 places. And for me, it's a lesson that I'd like to teach to them, that through perseverance and love and dedication, you can achieve, you can heal, you can find that star that you want to reach for.
You've made the decision, and this is the tool that you're using. So that's it's a good tool. The hiking arena. It's a very good way to, because you're also out of the systems, the educational, medical, science, you're out in, what supports us, which is nature and the environment. So it's getting real with everything. And again, you're not being shot at for it, hopefully,
which is a positive. Yeah. It snowed up here, so I've spent the last 2 nights in my tent checking a second bag and pad to make a decision and trying to balance ounces here and there, as you say. Do the best shakeout I can before I let them do it at Moonlight Crossing.
I haven't, since I came back, I was renting a $500 a month cottage, and I said, why am I spending all this money? This is when I came back, and basically I left the cottage, and I've been sleeping in a tent ever since. I don't know. It seems like I'm on the trail every day, every night when I'm outdoors and sleeping outdoors,
Isn't that the way it's supposed to be? If part of the holistic nutrition and wellness program that I'm taking after I've done 3.5 years of culinary arts, professional baking and pastry, in holistic nutrition and wellness. And part of it, of course, is, self-healing, personal growth, hierarchy of needs, and all that. But if you go back to Henry David Thoreau in 1854, writing Walden Pond, he went out there to live simply to improve his life. Mm-hmm. And so you look at the madness, like today being Black Friday. How do we find a simpler life, a simple way of being? My mom was raised on a little farm in southeast Colorado during the Depression, and she's the youngest of 8. So she taught me that self-sufficiency, that love, and that simplicity.
There you go. Yeah, that's real, and it'll take you far, with an attitude like that. But how are you going to communicate with folks back home, with me, with your family, with everybody? What's your plan?
Well, well, I will have a cell phone, and I'm carrying a little larger GPS by a few more ounces, so I can, and it has the interface, of course, with the phone, so I can send text. But when I get to towns or stops, hostels, or a hotel, I'll be blogging for the trek, and so I'll do my inputs there, all my communication there, all my check-ins to people wanting to know I'm alive and well. And
How often do you think you'll get on the blog there to write?
I can do it off the phone if I'm in cell range, every 2 to 3 days.
Okay.
I don't want it to drift too far, because I'd like the people behind me to know what's ahead.
I hope to follow you and hope to get another interview or more, on the trail, if we can do that. If we can manage that,
I can. I'm hoping for the best. Anything can go wrong, but I feel like, one of those interviews before a NASCAR race. What do you intend to do? Well, we're going to run our race and hope the tires hold out.
Right.
That's me.
Yeah, well, you seem like in good health. I mean, you've been training. How long you been training again for the
6
hike?
months.
6 months. Okay.
And concentrating a lot of strength and aerobic capacity in the muscles, making sure I do an exercise to failure, especially, making sure my legs are well balanced and my hips. And, you do a set of squats with 285 on the machine for 30 reps, and then you do another set until you can't do anymore. And so that'll help when I'm trying to do that scramble, push. And, for chest and shoulder strength, people ought to do push-ups, ought to do pull-ups, because you've got to be able to push yourself up off the ground with the weight of your backpack. You've got to be able to pull yourself up something with the weight of a backpack. So you can do it actually without any weights at all: push-ups, pull-ups, squats, lunges. That's the way we used to train.
What's your base weight going to be approximately?
Last check, it was 18.5, but I had to buy a set of micro spikes.
Okay.
Just out of all caution.
Okay.
And so I'm hoping it should be right at 20, maybe 20.5.
Okay.
So.
And the weather, what's the year forecast? Is there something?
Okay. Well, we're good so far. The last 2 years, Januaries down there have been warmer than normal, and this is an El Nino year, which in some places up north will cause worse weather, but it's supposed to be slightly warmer than normal with more precipitation. So, all through January, from Springer Mountain to Damascus, it's anywhere 27, 37 at night, maybe up to 42 at night. And during the day, 40 to 52, 40 to 54 all through the month, with about, weak spots in the system with the propensity for rain of about 13 days. So, I might be wet or snowy for a little bit.
And are you traveling alone?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's preference. Who knows who I might join up with, or who might let me tag along. I think that'd be a very important part too. But the importance of being there and just with me for a little while, that's kind of a priority. But I love people. I'm sociable as anything. I'll talk your ear off.
Oh yeah, you'll meet a lot of interesting people on trail. and you'll get together with groups for what, just seem to gravitate toward groups, and you may hike for a week or two with them and then go off. And yeah, you meet a lot of interesting people, especially the small towns too, the rural towns. A lot of interesting folk. It's a different lifestyle, I'm sure. I mean, this is your first long distance hike, right?
Yes.
How long
Yes.
have you gone before? How many miles or at one stretch have you gone before?
18 at a time.
Okay.
Nothing past that. My worst 18 miles was in basic training in Fort Sill, Oklahoma. I did it in the snow, and 2 hours later, I was in the hospital with 103.5 temperature and bronchial pneumonia. So, that's no nostalgia there. But I'm looking forward to not trying to put big miles on all the time, just where the day takes me.
Are you weightlifting now? Are you weightlifter? Yeah. How is that going to be when you stop doing that on the trail for 5 months or so?
The muscles have memory. Even though tired, I'll still do push-ups, sit-ups in the morning, and still do pull-ups, and don't have to worry about the leg portion because the trail will take care of that. Yeah. I've had to worry about overtraining. I'm 6 foot 230, and try not to get the the trapezius too big, or the lats too big, so that the pack becomes uncomfortable. So I've really had to shift focus, and these last 20 workouts will be basically lower weights, all endurance, and hope for the best. They'll inject my knee again in December. I've already seen the doc, podiatrist, dentist, everything. Anything that a person of my advanced experience should do. And trying to put everything in place, including a nutrition plan, to increase an avenue for success.
Yeah. So what are you going to put in your body in terms of food and drink?
Well, it's a large combination of meal bars. I'll name them by name: Pro Bars, Range Bars, Green Bellies. There's a couple of other ones: Kachava, protein powder. And through most of the pre-prepared stuff, I get out 4,000 calories in a day that's well-rounded. And for anybody watching, get on 2 sites. One is MyFitnessPal, and get yourself a free account and input what you eat in one of those sections, and it'll generate a report and tell you what you need, what you've got too much of. And another one, it's a government site, myplate.gov, and it'll show you how to better portion, because I eat a very plant-forward diet of a lot of whole grains, seeds, nuts, fruits, vegetables, juices. Anymore, not as much animal protein as I used to, but I eat that same way now, so that it's no shock to my body on the trail. And, you can bet I still won't splurge when I go into town, because my body and I got to deal with each other the next day.
Yeah, that's find yourself looking forward to that next town meal. I mean, you see how it is. It's like hamburger shakes and fries,
Oh, that's good, simple food.
Yeah.
That's straight. Give me anything with gravy.
Yeah.
What is it? The brown food group. Yeah.
Okay, so one last question here, and I'm going to be asking you this question as we interview you throughout the hike, but what have you become more aware of? Awareness is key in my way I see it. Awareness is very important. It's not really what you believe or hope or think or your ideas or considerations, but what have you become more aware of training for this hike? And I'll be asking you this throughout the hike too. Have you become more aware of anything, or what's that about for you?
The brightness and happiness in my life. a long healing process of trying to find joy again. And this has brought brightness, focus, a little more mental acuity towards one thing. And yes, it's Katahdin. It's the far side of it, at Katahdin. It is being purposeful and deliberate with my life every day. And that's what I've become aware of. The worst thing in your life, worse than sadness and sorrow and hurt, the worst thing is when you feel nothing at all. And so it has given me an even greater sense of joy just at the prospect of stepping foot off of Springer Mountain and joining the thousands of others who have gone before me.
You can do this, Charles. You can do this. Yes.
Thanks, Landslide. I appreciate it.
Okay, so this will be edited and probably get it back to you in a few days. But
Okay.
Look forward to communicating with you, keeping in touch, and again interviewing you maybe even before your hike, and if you have time, because we still have a month. There's still a month, right? About
I've got 6 weeks. Yeah.
6 weeks. Okay, we'll see how it goes. But yeah, happy trails. Good luck. I know you can do it. You can do it.
Thank you.
You got it.
Bless you much.
Okay.
Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.